Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Tuesday, April the 28th, 2026. Markets are I think they just barely opened a second or two ago. Um, Interesting open this morning, and I probably say that often enough that you get tired of hearing me say it, but interesting in the sense that the NASDAQ is so beat up pre-market. We'll see what happens as it actually opens and whether it ends up as bad as what it looked like it was going to be pre-market. A couple of stocks that are getting hit pretty hard right at the open: Applied Digital and Marvell. We have collar trades. We have a collar trade on Applied Digital, which I think is well set and well protected. I'm not too worried about that. Marvell, I told you yesterday when it was down that I wasn't too concerned, and now I'm like, wow, I was really taking a hit this morning. So we'll see what happens. I think it's premature to get real concerned or real worried about it, but we got to watch it closely. We've got that trade that expires at the end of this week that is still, even with Marvell down another $8 today, our trade is still $9 in the money, which you think is kind of a nice safety net, but you got to keep a close eye on it. And Applied Digital really getting hit hard today. The news that's take let me I'll get to some bigger, broader news, but the news that's really hitting Marvell and Applied Digital, NVIDIA as well. NVIDIA has taken a 3.5% hit this morning at the open. In the case of Marvell, it's down 6%. And in the case of Applied Digital, 6.7%. They're going to bounce around a little bit today, but this is the story that's driving these moves this morning. OpenAI reportedly missed revenue. It's an interesting. I don't know if you had a chance to read this story before the market opened this morning. If you were on CNBC and watching this, um, the story is not based on OpenAI's earnings. It's based on a Wall Street Journal report claiming that someone at OpenAI was concerned about missing some internal revenue goals. And OpenAI, this is the part of the article that everyone so far seems to be ignoring. Uh, OpenAI pushed back on the report. Where's my pen? Let me. Um, OpenAI, darn it. Sorry. OpenAI pushed back on the report. They told CNBC this morning, this is ridiculous. We are totally aligned on buying as much compute as we can and working hard on it together every day. So the Wall Street, this is without a doubt, this is a case of sell on the rumor. We talk sometimes about buy the rumor, sell the news. Well, it works in reverse as well. Sell the rumor or buy the rumor. It's people making big moves just based on a rumor or a report that that something is going to happen. So this is causing a shakeup. NVIDIA, Oracle, Qualcomm. You can see the list of companies that were down pre-market pretty heavily, and Applied Digital and Marvell have been caught up in that. NVIDIA specifically listed, but a lot, you know, that seems to be what's causing the NASDAQ to be down. But in the midst of that, the Dow is off to a pretty good start and having a pretty good day. Now, on a sell the rumor story like this, oftentimes, not always, no guarantee on this, but oftentimes volume ends up being light. So you look at these companies, and I'm talking specifically about the ones that we trade. You look at Applied Digital, you look at Marvell, you look at NVIDIA, all down now between 3 and 5%. Marvell has already come back a ways. Applied Digital not down as bad as it was right at the open, and even NVIDIA not down as bad as it was right at the open. But oftentimes, when this is what is driving the price of a company up or down, um, it's light volume and it's short lived. And I'm not predicting this because I'm not bold enough to predict this, but don't be completely shocked if before the day is over these actually reverse. I'm not like willing to go out on a limb and predict that right now. I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked if you got an actual reversal on these. Um, it's just that's there might be more news that breaks during the day that will flip this script and change this. That no guarantee on that. It's a tough situation because there could be other things putting some pressure on these companies, and so you just have to kind of watch it in totality. And it's not, I'm not saying this is always easy to do, but you sometimes you just have to kind of stay calm, stay collected, stay cool on this, and uh, not get overly anxious about it, especially in the case of Marvell. Marvell is now down only 4%, $6 and some change. It was down $10 right at the open. And so I think, you know, already there is a little bit of easing, and that's not to say that's not going to change and go back in the downward direction, but already there's a little bit of easing with it from right at that open. Same thing with NVIDIA and Applied. So those are all, I think, going to be okay. Um, the next thing I need to talk about is that Caterpillar trade that I sent yesterday. Caterpillar down $7 and down $8 this morning, still inside of the marks that we had set up for the trade that we wanted to get into, but much closer to the put side of it. And more important than that, and I was hopeful it wouldn't happen to this degree, but I suspected it would happen. The mid price yesterday, I think the mid price was just kind of swirly and kind of weird, but I sent the trade out anyway. Today, the mid price on that long iron condor that I sent yesterday is way off the mark. And when I say way off, I adjusted my limit up to 385 before the open this morning, and the mid is at 455 right now. Now I'm showing 452. So before the day is over, there are a couple of other companies that I am looking at, in addition to maybe just reworking the trade on Caterpillar. In other words, looking at some different strike prices and doing something a little bit different. So I'll probably send out something on Discord first and then an email to everybody for what we might do a little bit different on either Caterpillar or something else as we continue to trade through the day. We've got Microsoft earnings coming up. Robinhood, I think, is today after the close. Let's go to the calendar again here. Here you go. Let's see. This is showing Thursday, so let's back up a little bit. Yeah, after the close today, you've got Robinhood. They're down a little bit today, but still trading inside of where we set our long option strikes. You've got, and then tomorrow is the big day. Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Google, Qualcomm, Ford, Carvana. You've got a number of them. Carvana is not a great big stock that really massively moves the markets or anything, but it is trading or it is reporting tomorrow, and that it'd be interesting and fun. So it's going to be a big day. It's going to be a really, really big day on Thursday when the markets open. And then, of course, before the market opens, you've got Eli Lilly, Caterpillar, MasterCard. And like I said, I'll look at Caterpillar again and maybe rework that. Maybe it's possible. I'm not thinking that it's likely, but it is possible that before the day is over, the mid price on that Caterpillar trade sort of comes back down around to $4 a share. If it gets back down around $4, I'm probably still interested and probably still getting in that trade. But it's more likely going to be the case if we can find some strikes that are a little more workable on that. In the midst of all this, Walmart is up a little bit today. That's helpful for the Walmart trade that we have on. I hope it continues. I think a little bit of a fluke that Walmart had the sell off that it had. Um, I mentioned yesterday, I'm not too worried about a couple of days of giving back, but I think Walmart will move back up. And I still think 135 by the end of this week, or no, maybe not the end of this week, by the middle to end part of next week. That will help our Walmart trade out tremendously. I mentioned this yesterday. I'm going to mention it again today on Marvell. If Marvell has really got you concerned with where our trade is at, our trade should still be showing profitable. But if it's got you really concerned, um, take what profit you have and exit. You should still be profitable in the Marvell trade. Not a lot, not a big profit, but we're at the 135, 140 bull call spread, 140 short calls, and now Marvell is back to being $13 in the money on the short call. That should give you a little, a little bit of hope that it's not a lost cause. Don't get too anxious to close that one out. But if you're nervous about it, if it's really giving you heartburn, don't. I would say don't mess around with it. If it's really got you concerned or really got you nervous, what you ought to do is just exit it with whatever profit you have. Like I said, there should still be a decent amount of profit in that. A handful of these things that were down so much right at the open again, not nearly as much damage right now as they were right at the open. So looking forward to some big earnings, and if you're able to keep an eye on Discord. I'll also try and get out an email that will let you know different strike prices and a different setup on Caterpillar, because we probably will change that here in the next hour or so. And so that's basically where we're at for a Tuesday morning. I'm not overly concerned about this Nasdaq sell-off, and as you can see right now, futures had the Nasdaq down almost double that, and right at the open it went down, but not as bad as it is right now. So I think that we'll be in good shape. Um, I'm not predicting this, but I would not be surprised if by the end of the day we're actually in the green on the S&P and possibly back to green on the Nasdaq. We're in a situation where the geopolitical news about the Strait of Hormuz, deals or not deals with Iran could flip things, or it could accelerate everything to the downside. You never know. So there could be breaking news, at any time today that would have an effect on that. So, all right, I'm going to leave it right there. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. I'll be back online same time tomorrow morning. Thanks, everybody. Bye bye.